bump the armor off of it. Okay.
Are you crazy? Oh, up. I said off. I'm like, what are you, nuts?
Shoulders.
You see how fast I die? I was confused.
Yeah.
Warning.
You should be medicating.
Warning.
Usually what they do is
Main
they
bay
lower
doors
the
open.
armor.
Please keep your hands and feet inside the vehicle at all times. The stream will begin shortly.
You should be. That's not me, dog. Well, got 1 ton to play with.
Why? Hero crab. It's
I gotta put it.
73 at the front center torso and 62 in each torso at the front. And I only got 20 on the arms because I don't have any weapons in the arms.
I do. All my weapons are in my arms.
Excuse me.
Well, that ain't gonna help me anywhere else. Although if I lose a torso. Alright, so I still got 1 ton left, but I don't have any armor. Actually, can I do... Yes, I can. There we go! That's a mistake. Now that I'm broke. Now I've got stronger crabs. Ooh, I like that AMS back on there too. I had it when I first started playing with it, and then I forgot all about it. They're truckers. Alright, where are we going? Good talk. Well, I didn't win. Treatment resistant crabs. Just add them to the list of things that can survive a nuclear fallout. Cockroaches and crabs. Actually, in Fallout, there were big crabs and cockroaches. The size of Volkswagen.
Hey, Finny Fox, welcome. Are you going to come drop with me tonight, Finny Fox? Yeah, I think you should. Are you guys in a drop right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're in our tier 5 drop.
I'm going to do a quick play in tier 6.
Only
See
tier
if I can
5,
stay
so-
awake.
I'm coming.
Yeah, we're
in now.
playing.
It's a strictly tier 5 group.
Yeah, you gotta be orange to be honest.
Give me about 3 more matches and I can be down in tier 5.
Give me you a
go-
dark. I'll be there.
Ready?
Go play with Hellbringer. He'll screw it all up for you.
Drax, you're not in tier 5. You're at least in tier 4 now. I don't think I've
still in
I don't
tier
think
1,
I've given
but
you
I'm
the
like-
zen of tier 5 yet.
No, I'm still in tier 1, but like I've dropped to one of the letters in tier 1 because of you, not because of me.
One of the
Blaming you.
letters.
It's got to be me. I'm not sick, Hellbringer. I don't think. Not more than usual, anyway. I know. I don't know if it's just. I think I'm distorting the mic inputs too loud. Hang on. I'm just a little too much for the system here. We'll crank that down a little bit. That's
Now you sound
probably
normal.
fine. Yeah, that sounds better.
So did Finny Fox get the game? And yeah, she's been playing, right? She did.
Yeah, she's been playing.
Did you finish your cadet stuff, Finny?
She did, and she's done some matches, and I taught her how to overheat and how to stand still. So she's kind of learning the Dark Marauder way.
Is Valen? Is Valen here? Valen? No. I imagine Valen would have been teaching her.
Where are we going?
Wouldn't it be great though if she's better than Valen? That'd be awesome.
That'd be
It wouldn't be
great.
hard, but it wouldn't be awesome.
Your mind, what are you doing?
Valen's pretty good, actually, isn't he? Seems like
What are
it.
you doing?
I think he has some
Wonder what
decent
you were doing.
matches. I think he has some decent matches.
I'm scouting.
I don't know how to. I don't know
I'm not doing that.
people I play with,
I'm thinking
Yeah.
more
except
myself.
for you,
Except for me, it's pretty obvious. Yeah.
out of revenge.
Yeah.
Try to get me killed.
And I have to
Uh,
say, your Hellbringer playing is pretty good, man. It's decent.
It's not bad. I know.
It's up there, dude.
Sometimes
Yeah.
it has its ups and downs, but overall it's decent to pretty good.
I mean, I'd say you're a better heavy pilot than I am. That's what I would say.
Wow, that's pretty high praise.
No, it's not. I'm crap. Like, I'm like really bad.
It could have been high praise if you just left it alone, Drax. You just should have left it alone.
Sorry.
Could have let me wander off in my, false sense of accomplishment.
Has anybody been watching the Halo series on Paramount Prime Paramount?
Yep. Totally caught up. Show it.
How awesome is it? I love
Only
it.
thing, I wish they wouldn't take their helmets off. Other than that, it's really good.
Okay.
I mean,
I
I
haven't
get why
seen
they
it.
have to. Plot
What's the-
wise,
What's the tag? How do you turn on tag? How do you turn on tag?
Should be in your little.
Well, you just need to press 1.
How does it stay on?
You've got to keep it pressed. So one of the things you could do is put it on a separate button by itself.
I can't hold it down. Oh, it just fired all my missiles.
Yeah, it'll do that because 1 has got all your missiles as well.
I want to put it on 3, maybe. That's what I want
Yeah.
to do.
So you use the arrow keys and navigate to the 3 button on it, and then
one
press.
jumping.
I think it's Alt or Control left, right.
I can just
Alt or
hold. I can
right.
just hold down my mouse.
I
Yeah.
had 8 up there. There's one jump top.
What you looking at, Locus?
He dropped back down. No, he's
Okay.
left now.
What's the range on these?
What, Fenny? Are you
999
being
meters.
controversial for the sake of being controversial, or do you mean that?
Garbage? What? What? How can? What?
Onto the
I
right.
haven't seen it, so I don't know. I'm gonna go with
Cover.
whatever Finney says.
I mean, first off, you're a girl, so you don't know anything, and secondly,
Wow.
why would you say something like that and destroy a man's ego?
Just jumping in with 2 feet tonight, are we?
She's only
Yeah.
doing what needs to be done, Drax.
Oh, sorry, Fetty. I don't actually mean anything I say about women. Actually, I don't mean anything I say.
Yeah,
so,
that pushing
yeah,
hard.
you might want to
just
broaden
know
that up just a little bit.
Yeah,
Get the fuck out of here.
I don't know you at all, so I have no idea if you're, But why would you say Halo is garbage?
I don't like the game. I mean, I like 1, 2, and 3. I don't like the new one.
Oh, do you think she's talking about
Bunch of eights.
the game series?
So, how do I use this? I've never used a tag before. I know that's kind of shocking, but I just haven't.
So
I just have to keep it on the mech.
better LRM play. A lot of people think that good LRM play is about standing way behind the lines and waiting till you get a tag and then right. Better LRM play is actually making sure that you're moving with the group, and it's okay to get line of sight on something. In fact, you'll get better results by getting some, like you're doing right now. It's actually quite good. But just bear in mind that your group is rather split as well.
Yeah.
So you don't want to
Shenanigans.
overexpose, but you shouldn't be
Get
worried
over
about
here.
exposing with others.
For some reason, our firing line is not entering the circle. They're not helping us at all.
Needs reinforcements to E8.
We got faults and crap back there that are not helping. Get in the circle.
Oh, good game.
Target acquired.
Oh, that's not Alex following me. It's Vince. I thought it was Alex.
Now, if they go down behind a hill, does it still hit them, even though I'm not?
As long as you've got the
Tag
lock
them.
that you've got. So as long as you've got the
Okay.
lock and your reticle's turning red, you know you're hitting them. But if
Tag
you lose
just
the
helps
lock,
it happen faster.
no, the lock means you've got a lock and the alarm's
Okay, I
guided
gotta
to
back
them.
out here. This is bad.
Yeah, now you're
Ouch.
overexposed and you've got 3
Ow!
on
Ow!
1.
Ow!
You run the corner and get me.
I'm dying and I can't get to cover.
Yeah, they're
There's
doing.
no cover there.
They're basically just walking.
But still, I did 351 damage in just a few shots. So this, if I was knowing what I was doing, I think I could.
You weren't like the group you were in was just you and one other Lerma, so it wasn't
Yeah.
the ideal place where you need to be up. If you are going to take visual, you want to be
Right.
with a whole lot of other people.
Crap.
as I was saying, your group was quite spread out. So
But otherwise, I can just go
job.
off regular missile locks.
Too hot! Too hot!
you want to get locked to get
Yeah.
to confirm you're going to get alarms.
But if I can't get a tag on them, I can still use my regular locks.
If you've got visual, you don't.
No, if I don't have visual, but I've got a lock from, say, a UAV or something, and I can get a lock,
Whatever. Yeah.
then I can still fire them, right?
If you have a lock, you can hit.
Okay. And if
Guaranteed
the
to
tag just increases the hit ratio,
25%.
It increases the opportunity of locking.
Damage. Warning.
it doesn't
makes for a
focus the
quicker
missiles
lock.
better,
Right leg critical.
No, it just increases the opportunity for getting a lock.
so you can get a lock faster.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the problem with that is so does
Hey,
a
Miss
visual.
Peter.
So who cares?
Right. So who cares? So what's the point of?
No, I
having
think
a
I think
tag
if
then?
you got like someone with ECM,
then you can still lock them.
Yeah.
So it's like a laser guided missile type
That's it.
thing. I was figuring maybe it would have extra hitting,
Man, we just had a
focus.
whole bunch of guys.
But
that did
but I think
come
Joe
from
Creek's
middle
telling me
elbow.
stuff. So I'm way behind chat. Since I'm dead, I'll catch up a little bit on that. Wish I could. Unfortunately, my daily headaches decided to come on tonight. Unfortunately,
I'm
it's
back.
been lasting about 3 hours now. So, Finny Fox, do you have, like, my wife gets really bad headaches from different foods that she can eat? And
reading
oddly enough, we're afraid, maybe from our projector, we have a projector screen TV, and we're afraid that maybe the refresh rate on that is giving her headaches too. But especially foods that she eats. Do you have any allergies that affect that, or is it like what causes them? Haven't played Mechwarrior with friends. I've played a few matches, but as I've said before, I do the training and I check the last maps. Yep, you need to come die with people. That's what's important, Finny. The Halo series isn't garbage. We already covered that because I haven't seen it. I'm going to take your word for it, and then I'll just watch it anyway.
You're going to take Fenny's word that it's garbage.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
She's a girl.
Yeah, but she looked at the maps already, so that's enough, right? She probably looked at the Halo maps too, and I've never done that, so she's more of an expert than I am. I actually, you might find this a little bit shocking, Drax, but I value the opinion of most women more than most men for some reason. I don't know what's wrong with me. Just maybe I've been around men too often.
I don't care. I don't actually value. I don't judge the weight of an opinion based on their sex or gender.
Just
At all.
only if they're women.
Not at all. Not at all.
Not their sex or their gender, but if they're women, that's a whole different thing.
No, I don't. I don't care. Look, I have two sisters, a mum who I grew up with. I have a lot of women in my life, and I've grown up with a lot of women in my life. And yeah, they're definitely all batshit. But the thing is,
What?
crazy. The thing is,
Isn't it called dung?
Caca?
dung,
Bat caca?
bat
Would it be
dung
called?
crazy.
Bat dung, yeah.
Bet dung,
Okay,
camel
so-
crazy. How's that?
No,
Green
guado.
across
It's
the board,
guado.
if you want.
It's
Guano.
guado. Yeah, bat guano.
Guano.
Guano. I was
You guys wait
close.
for me? I'm coming to game.
Hey, Crimson. I'm gonna
Hello.
make a group.
I just kind of woke up,
Uh-oh. So you want to play
Yeah.
sleepily?
Nope. I'm awake now.
2 in the afternoon. How did you just wake up?
He's not. He's
I
kind of
slept
in. He's in the he's in the future.
I know
I-
we found out a while back that we're 12 hours apart.
All right, so Fenny does make some good points.
Uh-oh.
I
But it's
kinda
still
woke up,
enjoyable.
like-
It's like people who like.
Invite sent.
Fenny does make
Yeah.
some good points. She does make some good points. I have to say.
I have
She does
to.
make some good
I have to check here. Just a second. So
the
Joe
thing-
Creek is saying
Alright, be right back.
a roll of
I'm
pennies
ready.
glued to your 6 button keeps it on. Oh, why didn't I think of that?
You can drop
the
do a
extra-
countdown, Dark.
Oh, I'm not quite ready yet. Everybody's waiting for Drax, of course.
Just
Drax has
yeah.
become the new fishy
Heads
ghost.
up.
Okay, here we go. We're green. Do you want me to do the count? You said.
Yeah.
The thing is, Fenny,
Right.
I'm
3,
not so much
2,
of an expert of the
1,
game series. I
launch.
played one, obviously, when it was actually came out because I was actually live then, and
Extra.
I've played bits and pieces of the other games. I can't say I'm a true fan of the Halo series. I really enjoyed Halo. It was one of my first proper video games I shared with other people. Like, we had a whole thing where we'd go to a mate's place and he'd have computers and consoles set up, and we end up having like 4 different rooms and 16 guys playing on those multiplayer maps. It's amazing. So I can't testify how true the series is to the lore, but it's still great.
Miss Bionar, yes, Drax came out of the gate bashing women. That was his entrance comment.
Well, Fenny bashed a series I just said was awesome. So I think she was asking for it, eh?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
She opened herself up to criticism, that's all I'm saying.
I see. I've played all the Halos but Infinite, and the TV series is
she does
garbage.
make some very good
CGI
points.
is good, but the Chief has not once showed his face in the game series. It's because they don't have the money to do good facial CGI. On top of that, they made Halsey more corrupt than she actually was. They made the general dude black instead of white.
I don't think she's corrupt. I don't think they made her corrupt. I think they made her single-minded and manipulative. I don't think she's corrupt. I think that's a bit of an extreme.
I think the Chief's maybe a better shot than the grunts. I think that's fair to assume. He's able to use a machine gun with more pizzazz and finesse.
Well, it does come off. I'll tell you what, it does come off a bit like the stormtroopers in Star Wars series.
Yeah,
like
shooting everywhere and
does
hitting
have
nothing.
A very valid point. She's got a very valid point about how, for some reason, humans seem inept in killing. Even the basic soldiers. Yeah. I mean, they do kind of act a bit like stormtroopers, which is she's kind of got a good point there.
I don't mind when they change the race of a character in a show, but if they change the race of a character and it feels gratuitous, then I don't like that. Like there should be a reason why. I don't think going through standard, well-known shows that have large followings and have bigger than life characters that you've really glommed onto, and then we just come out with a new reboot that has changed the races of everybody. Just come up with new characters that are of that race you want to, talk about or show or whatever.
I have one. Jake from State Farm.
Is he the guy?
He used to be a white feller. Oh. He was an ugly white feller.
But now
he's a handsome black man.
He with the amazing voice. He was a president in 24 in one of the seasons of 24 or 2 of the seasons of 24.
Oh, really?
I totally would have voted for him as president, and I totally no, Allstate. I'm sorry, I'm talking about Allstate. You're in good hands with Allstate. Yeah. It's that guy. Fantastic
I was talking about
character switch. Whoever got him for their spokesman, that was fantastic.
The original commercial was, she sounds hideous, and it was, it's a guy.
Oh, I don't remember that at all. I'm just thinking of the guy at Allstate.
Oh no, that dude's. No, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah,
he's in a lot of movies too.
He is. He's
like, so Lord of the Rings, for example. The Lord of the Rings TV series is coming out, for example, right now. This was written by.
Heck yeah!
Really?
This was written by a guy who's basically born and bred English in a time where basically the majority of what he would have seen was white, and he was a Gentile and all that kind of stuff. So they've come up with the TV series, and one of the criticisms of when it gets released is the way they've changed up the races of the races, right? So they've now got these black elves and all this other kind of stuff running around. That's apparently what they're doing, and all the fanboys are very critical of this kind of change up, and I get it, and I'm a big fan of Lord of the Rings, and I don't care that they've done it. I'm not too worried that they've done that kind of stuff. I'm more worried, for example, when the Wheel of Time came out, to me the Wheel of Time is utter garbage. It's just crap of a series release, as far as I'm concerned.
They already signed on for 4 seasons of.
And it's not what they've done to the races. It's just bad. It's just I don't want to watch it. Boring, bad.
Well, so Lord of the Rings, though, did they change existing characters into being different races, or just they have subspecies within hobbits?
Well, it isn't out. It isn't
hobbits.
It isn't out yet, so we don't fully know. We don't fully know the changes. But what's said to have been is that they've got, for example, just for casting wise, they've got, it's a multinational,
cast.
multi-ethnical cast. When
I don't have a problem with that,
in
just
actual-
because you look at the human race and there's lots of different
Airstrike online.
ethnicities within the span of the human race. The same thing,
And
you
there
would
is
expect
within
would be
Lord of the
true
Rings, except-
within hobbits, right? The same
no,
thing.
no.
So you would expect that.
No.
Oh, so hobbits don't
No.
have any variation in skin tone?
Target spotted.
As it turns out, no.
was out of place.
JR
Okay.
spoken about that.
If you're talking about, for example, the Haradrim, which seem to be modelled on more to do with the
The what dream? Sorry, I don't. Not.
Haradrim, if I've got
Whoa.
the pronunciation correct.
Is
Who's
that a
this
book?
guy?
Is that one of the books?
They're kind of like the Arabs, basically.
Guys, lock
Nobody
them
else
up and
heard
I
that.
can learn them.
Target
Target
acquired.
spotted.
The only one that heard that? We're just... Alright.
Target
But what I was
acquired.
trying to say, but Drax didn't inhale, they already signed Lord of the Rings on for 4 seasons. It's like the most expensive TV show of all time. So it doesn't really matter what anybody thinks about the race. They're doing 4 seasons regardless. The nerds don't get a voice in it. And it honestly doesn't matter. They're doing it all in New Zealand.
Level critical.
Well, most of it. They were shooting some in England here a while back.
Target spotted.
Airstrike online.
Alright, looks like we got 3 trying to take out our one guy over there.
Heat level critical.
Target spotted.
Hang in there, Drax.
I'll be dead
I'm what I
soon.
can to help you.
I've got no weapons, I've got no armor.
Heat level critical.
I know. Run to him. Run to me. Run to me.
Spotted.
New target acquired.
They're taking off that way.
Airstrike
I hate open maps like this. I'm dying
late
to
to
the area.
Target destroyed.
But there's 4 of them here. No one came to help, though.
There you go, Crimson. I helped him from over here with all my lerms.
Thing.
Oh!
Oh, you did, actually. Your limbs did help. Well, not really, because lights
Acquired.
and
Oh,
limbs
no.
don't really work.
I helped him. I was very helpful to him.
How can you not die? The assassin.
New
What?
target acquired.
Ooh, I killed him.
Nice card.
Nice.
Finally, yeah.
New target acquired.
Target spotted.
Well, I did some work.
Yeah, you did a
I
great
tied
job
up
there.
4 lights, and no, 3 lights and a medium.
Airstrike online.
And I've
At
now
least-
got no weapons, and... Oh, I'm out
New
of
target
ammo,
acquired.
and I've going to have small lasers. So that's me for the game. Just think I'm going to shut down somewhere, boys.
You can give them some headbutts, later. Ow,
Target
ow,
destroyed. New target acquired.
Target
ow. Dark, need our help. Dark. On your right. On your right.
Thank you.
New target.
I looked on the
acquired.
map. I didn't see him for some reason.
Woo!
There's
Got one!
right side. There's a Mech cat too. Run.
Target acquired.
You're 6-1. Well done, boys.
Missile.
I know, but we're not with the team, guys. That's the problem.
Target acquired.
We got one in Delta 4 that's...
New target
F6. Look at the
acquired.
guys in F6.
Warning, incoming missile.
Target spotted.
I know exactly what is a Windows charger. I play this too
New
much.
target acquired.
You can get firing lines in F6 to do
How
well.
did I turn off?
That's
Kilo,
what-
kilo.
that's where the defense is.
New target acquired.
That's not good. There I went down. Crap!
Heat level critical. Airstrike activated.
Kilo.
Okay, it does get hot.
Everybody was down.
He's getting hot.
Target
Oh, nice.
acquired.
He's
New
dead.
target
India.
acquired. Heat level critical. Airstrike online.
Did they all come for me, or
too
like,
hot.
did they get blindsided and start going to the F5 areas?
Yeah.
They got rolled.
The start there was like 6 actually it went against you, Dark and Drax. If you didn't.
Oh, really?
notice.
Target destroyed.
Yeah.
Heat level critical.
And I'm alive. Woohoo!
Target
You're alive.
destroyed.
Great work, guys.
I
Thanks for the drop.
insulted Phoenix on this box too much.
We're back at the menu.
This doesn't feel fair.
Oh,
So this is the thing, Fenny Fox. You make some very accurate and good points, and you know what? I still like the series because I suppose I'm not as glued to the lore and everything. But I do
That's
think
why I'm enjoying it.
So
My
I
son's
can-
correcting it as we're watching it. I'm like, I don't know, but this is good.
I think if I was glued to the lore, I think I'd probably say it's garbage.
Sir Ominous, welcome.
Yeah.
I'm concerned, Drax, that so you're telling me that there aren't hobbits that have hair on their feet and hobbits that don't have hair on their feet. They all have hair on their feet. There aren't different varieties of hobbits.
We're talking about ethnic. We're talking about ethnic and skin color, right? So by and large,
But
when you talk
it could
about
be other
hobbits,
features,
the way they get,
right?
We're green. Whatever.
and I'm telling you that what the features include is not a change in skin color. You get change in slight tonage of white, but they're presented as sort of an anglicized dwarf race, and the elves are presented as a anglicized elf race, and the humans, by and large, are the ones that present themselves as diverse.
By
but you
the
don't
author,
see
you
a
mean.
lot of that diversity until the third book, when you see the Haradrim and the Easterlings come into the book. And then with the orcs, that's where you see a lot of diversity, because truly what the ethnic races, if you want to get into sort of, I don't know, some kind of warped, bizarre, what other races represented, you've got orcs, a variety of those, Uruk-hai, which weren't originally.
Hi, thanks for the raid.
That presented that.
I missed the raid.
That's where you get the change up with races.
Sir Arminus is the raid. Sorry, Drax. I got to respond to chat for a second here. Thank you for the raid. Welcome everybody. This is Ghostlands, and it only gets crazier from here. So enjoy the ride. Go ahead, Drax.
But I'm not too worried that they've done it. Like when the series comes out, I'm not gonna judge it because of superficial things like skin color.
We're green anytime you guys are.
care. I don't really care about that stuff.
Yeah, we've been green. I was,
Sorry, 3,
probably didn't hear me.
2, 1, drop. Yeah.
There's a lot going on.
I'm gonna rate it on the story that they're trying to tell, and
the characters.
And that's why I like Halo. I'm not so focused on. I mean, I think they present it well enough, and I'm hooked. I think it's great.
I would love for you to be an American and say superficial things like skin color and watch everyone just blow
Oh,
up
everybody
and try to
flips
kill you.
out. Yeah.
What do you mean?
Exactly how I said it. I mean, if I go into more detail,
everything has become offensive to everybody.
Race.
It seems like.
yes.
Yeah.
I just had harassment training last night at work, and what I learned from it was look forward unless there's a person in front of you, then look down, don't talk to them, don't make eye contact, because leering at someone even is harassment, and just shut up and do your work.
So it used to be that the vast majority of people who got married met through some kind of workplace encounter, and it looks like corporate America is killing that.
Here,
And dating apps are taking over.
here, Drax. I don't know what it's like in Australia because it's a penal colony, obviously, so it's hard to know what's going on there.
They're all equal.
We don't get a peek behind the bars, so to speak. But here,
I do.
For decades and 100 years, probably 80% of people met their mate, their spouse, through churches and church organizations and church, things. And that has, in the last 30 years, has just kind of gone by the wayside. So now they don't meet unless it's on a social app or something. They have a hard time meeting anybody.
So you mean the Jews in America met at church?
I don't know about specifically
The
the Jews,
Muslims,
but
the Muslims
the stats,
in America, they didn't go to
no,
their temple.
The stats were that 80% of people met their spouse. I don't know if they broke it down by what religion that included, but 80% of the population met their spouse through mostly church events and relational communities, and those communities have gotten smaller and smaller portion of American daily life. And so we've looked for other ways to meet people, and that now is falling on the internet and social media apps and dating sites and stuff like that.
So work never got a rating in that?
I'm sure it did, yeah. I'm sure it did. It just didn't rate very highly until recently.
The stats I'm reporting on are more of an American stat than anything else.
But is that... how recent are those stats? Because now those stats are not weighted heavily towards churches or church organizations or anything like that. They're weighted heavily.
Let's do a quick fly round, right? So we've got at least 6 people on here, and we've got however many people are willing to talk in your stream. when you look at how you created your first, like your relationship, all your relationships, like actual partners, where did you
like everyone you dated,
did you
or just
meet
who
them?
ended up marrying?
Everyone you had a serious relationship with.
Yeah, so
I'm out
like
of this
school
conversation.
obviously is going to be a lot of the case for many people, but you're not going to marry those people usually. So for me,
Why not?
well, usually I don't think most people who date in high school get married. There are a percentage that do, but not
Those are
most
bad
people.
then.
Well, maybe
Really?
maybe they're bad people. We'll have to have
Maybe.
Drax tell us if they're bad or not. I don't think we're going to know.
Oh, he will. Give it
Yeah.
time.
Am I saying that? What?
I'm just making up stuff for you to try to defend yourself from.
Target acquired.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
just
you-
messing with you, Drax.
Yeah.
Calm down. Don't
That's
get
all right.
mad. Don't get all.
Don't get mad. Get
mind.
glad trash bags.
Target acquired.
So, like, I mean, there are other guys on this Discord. So we got one who did, in fact, marry their high school sweetheart.
Yeah.
Where did you meet your wife, Dark? Church?
I met her
I
in
met her.
high school, but we didn't ever date.
So, high school.
No, we didn't.
But that's
ever
where you
date.
met her.
We-
That's
we
where you
never,
met her.
I knew her. I didn't really ever meet. She was a friend with my sister, but we met in the church parking lot, and
Right, okay,
and
so you
fell
met-
in
you
love.
met-
So it's a combination in my case. It's
Format,
kind of a-
anti-strike.
kind of a mix.
So who else do we have here? Hang on.
We did stuff in a church.
Prank, Hellbringer, Shenanigans.
Target acquired.
Actually,
Sacrament.
school parking lot.
School parking lot. So parking. So actually, more right. The school parking lot seems
Yeah,
to be
yeah. The school parking
Oh,
lot.
we're
seems to
Rocky
be
Park.
more-
My dad's station
Parking
wagon
lot.
at the time.
What's going on with
Lots of
parking lots?
places.
I mostly met my partners through. Let's have a look. There's been a few of them.
You seem to have had a lot of success through office Valentine's Day cards. So you would think work probably
No.
is weighting and coloring your perception of reality. But this
No,
was just a
mostly-
national study that I'm quoting from a research that was done in America. So I don't know if it has any bearing on
Yeah,
the
but
rest
it's
of the
probably
world.
done by a church. So it's biased.
No, I don't think so. No. I mean, it was across all different sorts of things, and the book itself is probably 20 years old. So the research
got a view of the
then
tunnel.
was showing that had changed. So within the last 40 years, it's changed, pretty drastically from what it used to be.
You know what? I've had a fair mix. If I have to, I'm just trying to recollect where I met where I first met my partners, and then
Target acquired.
kind of delved into a relationship with them. And so one was definitely work. One was a course. In fact, there was a few
acquired.
that done on course. Yeah, there's a few I met through courses. And one was just chased it down on the street, basically.
Wow.
Whoa!
Whoa.
Heat
Yes,
level
officer, this man.
No.
Center torso.
Why does that
Okay,
sound bad?
I'm-
I saw a girl across the street. I thought she was gorgeous.
The way you phrase it,
and
I think, that gets you in trouble.
I ran up to her and I said,
Chased her down the street, hit her in the head of the club. Nobody.
and I said, I think you're beautiful and I'd like to be the guy to tell you that every day.
Wow.
And she said,
You're a strong
really?
player
And I
there.
said, yes. And she goes, would you like to take me to dinner? I said, I would love that. And then we had basically a relationship that lasted a year.
Target spotted.
That's a strong it's a power move right there. I don't know if I would ever do that. I would walk up to them. I wouldn't run. And I would say,
Yeah,
hi,
Target.
my name's so-and-so, and I just noticed you over here, and it just seemed like I'd be interested to get to know you better. Are you interested in getting to know me at all? I don't think I'd go for the right out, blatant, oh, you're really
trouble.
beautiful, so therefore... That just seems way over the top. So good for you, I guess.
No, I said, I think you're beautiful and I'd like to be the guy to tell you that every day. And that,
No, that's a strong thing to say to somebody you don't know.
New target
Sure.
acquired.
Not that they're beautiful, but the other part.
sure.
Target
How
spotted.
much does a polar bear weigh? Enough to break the ice.
Yeah. I think that's a weak move, but I'd like it.
Are we all in the
My
basement?
wife's the one that came up to me and she asked if I had a Metallica CD. That was her pickup line.
Really? That's hilarious.
And I did.
We just decided to stay in the basement. That's crazy. We're wimping out in the basement.
I'm not sure.
So
where.
Miss BNR met
I'm
her
out.
ex in 6th grade.
Her ex.
Miss
That's
BNR,
cool,
honestly, I
right?
have no say in any of this, says Finny Fox. I try not to meet.
Don't
Miss
date people
Bernard
I
says, I
work
try
with,
to
go
meet
to school
partners
with,
at work,
or the
considering the
neighbour,
whole
because if there's
that she
anything
works in
south,
criminal
there's-
defense.
Right torso critical damage.
Fanny, how
Alright,
old are
since
you?
we're talking
Miss Bernard,
about it,
I agree.
I met my old lady one day at Food City. That is a grocery store.
So, shopping. Okay.
How old was she?
Was it, now, wait, was the move in the car park, or was it in the store?
It was in the store.
Okay.
Why-
That
He
why
was
do you-
stealing stuff. She stopped him, and then
Well, I just think there's a huge statistic car parks.
He
I don't
was
think we've
squeezing the
measured.
Charmin. He was squeezing the
He was
Charmin.
stealing
She said,
condoms.
Excuse me,
She
don't
was like, "Do you wanna
squeeze
use
the
those?"
Charmin.
I was in there with my boys stealing hot dogs for a birthday party.
Oh my
If you don't get that
god!
reference, then you
I don't get it, and I don't think I want to.
I don't get it either, but that's all right.
it's from
I
Trailer Park Boys.
I don't know if you noticed, I get accused of an awful lot, so one more accusation against me.
Finny Fox says, I don't date people I work with, go to school with, or in my neighborhood because if anything goes south with that person, you have to see them all the time. I don't think that's a good enough reason, though. What if you actually really like somebody and it might work out to be a great relationship that you end up getting married or something, and now you've disqualified them just because you already know them? That wouldn't necessarily be good. I mean, maybe it's good generally, but I don't think I'd hold too hard to that, personally. And what was the one above that? Oh, Miss BNR said, I think you need an accent to make that line work, Trax. And I think it's true. If you came here to America and said that to my wife, she would probably leave me and marry you right then. Just because of the power of the accent. So I don't think you're playing fair.
What?
Right torso critical.
But I've only even. What do you mean?
Torso
I said,
critical damage.
I think Miss BNR said that you need an accent to make that line work. And I said that's true. If you use your Aussie accent here in America, you can make that line work all day.
I've used that. I don't use lines. It's just what came out at the time because that's what I was thinking, and I've never used it again.
oh mittens.
It's just. Got it. It's just kind of weird. And it was said to an Australian girl, and I'm Australian, so it wasn't like I had an accent because we don't have
you
accents.
don't think
here. We
Australian
just got- this
girls
is how
can
we
recognize
talk.
an Australian accent when they hear it? Come on, Trax. Of course they can.
I don't know. Frank, what about you? Are you willing to confess where you met your partners?
Wait, Frank has multiple wives?
I don't know if he's.
You said partners.
As in historically, like girlfriends.
Oh,
and
okay,
serious,
okay.
Serious relationships. I don't know. He doesn't seem to want to talk. Okay.
This might be kind of private.
There you go, sir. I'm going to met my wife at work, been together for 20 years. See, Fenny, I think you underrate the opportunity that exists in the workplace because you get to know. It's not like you first day at work you start on hitting everyone, right? That would be inappropriate.
Well,
Joe Creek's line, the grocery store pickup went like this: "It's dangerous for you to be here. You could melt all this stuff."
God.
I think we've been talking too much. Everyone's run down to the other channel.
Yeah,
Oh well.
Oh my gosh, they're so picky.
but
I mean, you
They
are
want,
streaming.
they want to do serious matches, I guess.
I know, it's crazy.
I don't know what they're thinking. They're here in Ghostlands.
My Blue Heaven movie quote.
Oh, that's from Blue Heaven.
So you can build all the stuff. I like it. It's pretty cool.
Man, Hellbringer says, "Man, you guys talk a lot. That's why they moved down." Yeah, it's us. We'll just launch, I guess.
Well, it just seems we've had a mixed result here that basically people have met their partners in a whole bunch of places.
Yeah,
today, I think that's
anyway.
totally true. But all I was saying is that years ago, it was not the case here in America.
I think that describes
I'm serious.
portion, a white Catholic Christian portion of your society.
A lot of years ago, 80% of America would have classified themselves as some sort of Christian or believer, and
I think
they
I think
would
80
have
years
gone
ago-
to church 80 years ago, but 40 years ago even.
Even 40 years ago, the only group that seemed to matter to the group that was in power was the white Christian group. Like you had American
You'd
Indians. You
find
had
people in black churches. They met their spouse in a black church or black church event or something like that. That was cross-culturally in a lot of cases. It wasn't just
and
white
about
people.
100 years before that, they met them on the fields. Like, okay, and they couldn't really get married anyway because they were worried about separation. So they got, because the people would often be separated out.
Well, yes, but that had nothing to do with the research that I'm quoting, which was done about 20 years ago.
Can you forward me that piece of research?
I'd have to go find it, but yeah, it's in a
it.
book here somewhere. I have to go find it in a pile of books.
Is that book written for?
Yes,
Well,
it's written. It's a published book.
Is it? Oh, it's published. Okay.
It's probably called. It might be called Sex in America.
Oh, okay. Definitely forward me that book.
I'd have to double check.
Well,
I think that's what it might be.
I think at the end of the day, it depends on the people whether they want to take the action in that workplace or not, in different places.
I think you'll find that people meet other people wherever they socially congregate, whether that's in a church, which it used to be a lot here, but isn't very much nearly as much now, or whether it's at work, or whether it's if they go to the Peace Corps or something like that. We don't have a lot of social groups anymore. And that's the thing that's changed. And that's my only point, is that we don't have structured social groups that people fall into very easily. There might be a bird watching club, or there might be a rock hunting club or something like that. But usually it's 12 people in it, right? Whereas when there was all these churches, and there'd be potlucks, and there'd be after service events and hanging out and doing stuff together, you'd meet dozens and dozens. And a big church, you could meet hundreds or thousands of people your age. And now those groups don't really exist very much.
That's an age bias thing, Dark. I remember being in a psych class.
Drax, I'm just quoting the actual what happened 20 years ago. It doesn't happen like that now. And now people are finding it hard to even meet people that they want to end up in a long-term relationship with, because these groups, these social groups, whether they're Christian or not is not the point. These social groups are gone across America. Don't know what it's like in Australia.
So what do you classify as a social group? What do we classify as a social group?
Or religious? The social groups don't really exist like they used to.
Work is a social group. Like the company you work for becomes your social group, doesn't it?
It is, but not. You don't usually meet a lot of different people in your work unless you're working for a large company, and you don't usually have time to, you're working all the time, right? So I'll certainly say that people can meet at work and fall in love and get married, sure, but I wouldn't classify that as a social group. That's per se, in the sense that I'm talking about it, where you have time to hang out and get to know people.
Do you think? I get it. So you basically, the point of going somewhere is to socialize, as opposed to forcing yourself to do activity that you don't really want to do.
Yeah,
like work.
Yeah.
So
and not that you can't meet somebody anywhere. You can meet somebody walking on the street, sure.
Well, you can meet. Apparently, car parks are a great place to meet people.
Evidently, right.
Apparently.
But the research that I read was that up until it started changing about 40 years ago, which coincided with the fall off of people attending church regularly, that people started finding it harder and harder to find people to even date, because they didn't have those connections that were so obviously, wrapped around things that they did. And it changed really gradually. I noticed it over the years. And this research was like, oh, yeah, look, there's the actual stats for it. And it's definitely, you can see it. I don't know what it's like, for you guys there or in Europe. I just know that here in America, that's totally what I've seen. And the research bears that out.
So it hasn't replaced. So in other words, you're saying there hasn't been a social group replacement for church.
There really hasn't. There's lots of little fractured things, but it's hard to float through those and meet a whole lot of different people like you would. Like, for example, and not everybody has, the average church size in America was much bigger than it is now, but now it's 35 to 70 people. So if you're a single, younger person looking for somebody to date or get to know, you might have 2 or 3 options in that size of a church, if any, because a lot of times they're older.
So people didn't meet in bars, clubs, what we would call pubs.
Some did, sure. Yeah, But the pub thing here in America wasn't like the European pubs where the whole family would go to hang out, and because we didn't allow minors into a bar, and we didn't have pubs, we had bars, and so that was a whole different scene. But it just was a whole different thing here in a lot of ways. Some of that was
because here's why I'm skeptical about what you're talking about, right? Here's why I'm skeptical. Now, I'm not saying you're wrong. It's just that you're definitely talking about an experience of. So I haven't ever had a lot of religious people in my life. Like outside of childhood, where I went to a religious school.
I think you're hanging up on the fact that I said it was churches. It doesn't matter. The truth is that regardless of whether it was religious,
the only reason I'm saying it,
the social group was invested in this church experience. As that waned off, the social group went away and was not replaced with something else in the same way.
That's what I find. That's what I'm skeptical, because I can't believe that, because biologically, it's like people want to breed, like people want to get together and breed, right? So there's always going to, where there's a will, there's a way. And I've always, in my experience, not coming from a religious background and not having friends, I've had dozens of friends who've met and had relationships and serious relationships and marriages, and they had nothing to do with their faith or congregation around their faith. So I'm just surprised that
some of that still happened, and more of it happened over time, right, than used to. So I'm not saying that didn't ever happen, and I'm not saying that it didn't grow over those 40 years. More and more that people were finding.
Once upon a time, church was it.
Yeah, and that was a thing that disappeared, and it really didn't get totally replaced with something that was as.
I think apps have replaced it, dude. Like I think.
Well, I've already said that now they go to apps and they go to bars and they go to clubs. Here's the problem though with that, and this is, man, I'm dead. I think the problem is in those social groups. You had friends around you who knew you and often knew that other person. You had family around you that knew you, and they could see things you wouldn't necessarily see, and say, well, as your friend, I don't think they're a good match for you for this reason, that reason, and if you think that's not a problem, fine, but just heads up. Or we saw this guy out the other night with some other girl, and he's saying he's true to you, but he's obviously not, right? There's this network of friends to kind of give you a little bit of safety. Now it's swipe left, swipe right, and you're in it for sex, and fine, you get sex. But you don't have people around you that know you, that can help you navigate whether or not that's a person that really is a good fit for you and your personality as they know you. And I think that's a loss for people.
Right. Okay.
New target.
And that doesn't have to be just through churches. It could be through other groups. We don't have those other groups anymore. And we seem to have forgone those groups in favor of blind matchmaking of one sort or another, whether you're just going to a bar and finding anybody, or a dance or club, or you're using an app. And we don't bring our friends into our relationships. And they see things we don't see. I remember... one of the things that I've said to young people is you can't hear God when the wedding bells are chiming. Like when you're infatuated in love, you don't really hear God. And you don't really hear your parents, and you don't really hear your friends. You're just in love. But if you're kind of surrounded with them, you kind of start to trust them too a little bit. And having that extra set of people who love you the most in the world and know you better than anybody else, be able to look at you and say, I'm a little concerned about this person that you're, getting to know, and just be, eyes open about that.
Yeah, look, we're old guys talking about the dating scene, and I don't think we've got pulse. I really don't think we've got the pulse on how people meet anymore, to be honest. You've been married for X amount of years. You've got kids, so I can appreciate
I've got kids, and I've worked with hundreds and hundreds of kids and families for decades. So I have a pretty good pulse. Not certainly intimately in it at all, but watching it and working with people who've been in it. And it's difficult for them, and it's hard, and it's lonely, and it often leaves lots of scars. And that can be the true in no matter what you do, right? I mean, there's no guarantee. But I can't think of a time. I'm sure there are, so this is not a blanket, true statement, but I think as a general rule, I can't think of a time when I would not want people who love me to be able to see who I'm dating and see if they think they're a good match for me. If I'm looking to get married to somebody, if I'm just out having sex, then I guess I don't really care. But if I'm looking for someone to be a lifelong friend and partner and someone that is going to be there and love me the way I want to love them, I want that extra set of eyes on things, just as input. Not that they're going to determine anything for me, but having that feedback is really valuable.
But given that once upon a time, Dark, that existed, right? It's because you're saying that 80%, so once upon a time that existed. So what accounts for in your opinion, what accounts for the change? Because to be frank, if that was
Society,
good,
culture,
right, the perfect way to have done it,
human.
I suppose you're not even discussing
I'm not
that. Let's
saying
just say that
I'm not saying it's perfect either,
that was
Drax.
the thing. Yeah. Clearly. See, I'm not sure I would want my friends' interference at all, because I've definitely been involved with people and hung up on what my friends thought of the person I was dating. And to be honest, I think at some point in any relationship, you shouldn't be caring about what your friends think at all about your relationship, because, I mean, that they're not involved in the relationship on a day-to-day, on the minute details, on the laying your head down on the pillow kind of late at night kind of stuff. I think that would be detrimental. Like, I've been in relationships where, through circumstances, I've had interference from friends in a negative way in the relationship that was to the detriment of the relationship.
Right. Well, you have to ignore that.
I'm not really sure I would want that. I'm
not advocating interference. I'm advocating input from people I trust and love me, and I know them, and they know me, and they care about me.
So you'll just ask their opinions, or they'll give you freely their opinions.
Yeah.
Right.
And I don't have to take their opinion, right? But having that opinion is, to me, because I like to collect information. To me, that's important. And I think it's certainly true that you could probably think of a lot of people who could have used that before they married somebody that was a disaster, and everybody saw it coming, right? But yeah, I'm not saying that was the perfect system. I'm saying it was definitely had some advantage over what we have now.
For whatever reason, it was the way people met and sort of
and I think
vetted their relationships.
Yeah, and I think the reason it changed. I don't know if other Christians would see this, because they don't really pay attention to this particular thing, I don't think. But working with youth for so many years, and loving science and being a pastor and all that together, the biggest single factor that's changed the landscape of religion across the board in America and probably across the world in a lot of ways has been the just scientific materialism, which denies that there is anything other than God. And that has creeped into just the bedrock of thinking in America, and it eats away, erodes that faith in God.
So you're saying the change in the way relationships have been created was the change in the relationship people had with their church because of science materialism?
Well, they stopped going, is what I'm saying.
I just want to make sure I've got the dots.
I don't know if I'm connecting those dots. I'm saying that this idea that there is no God and that science says there's no God, and so if you're a rational individual, you won't believe there's a God, eroded at the fabric of the church. And the number of people that went to church dropped dramatically over the last 40 years, 60 years really, 40 but especially. And especially in the last 20, I mean, dramatically in the last 20. So it's a sloping, then kind of down like that. And that kept people from going to church, and that took them away from those opportunities that were there to meet people that they might have really wanted to meet, might have really enjoyed.
Right, so you are joining those dots.
And a lot of times they didn't, they kept the many of the moral values of that religion, do unto others as you do unto yourself, or that kind of stuff. helping the poor or the sick or the needy, works of charity and things. All those things they kept, and then they discarded the relationship with a God who they had been told and somehow convinced that was not a tenable belief. So they stayed out of churches, and as that went away, these opportunities went away, and they had to find other ways to find mates, or they and I think those are inexorably connected. I don't know that.
Can I dig in a bit? I dig in a bit with what you're saying? Right.
Yeah.
So, because this is quite a broad and deep.
Yeah, it's definitely
discussion
a wild one.
And I don't like the idea of pinning it to one thing. But let's just say.
Well, I'm not going to pin it just to that one thing, but that's amazing. I see that over the decades of watching this kind of happen here.
See, I often find that people, Doug, I often find when you do pin it to the one thing, the next question that then doesn't get asked is, well, why did that happen? Like, so why did scientific materialism? And then you start digging a little bit further and you realize, well, that's a reaction to some other stuff that's also been going on in society, right?
Well, you could also say,
let me dig in here a bit. What was the work-life balance back in the day when 80% of the population met and married through churches? Like, how many hours would people be required or did work, for example, do you think?
40-hour work week has been standard my entire life. Not that everybody does that, but that's been 60 years, and people have always worked more or less. What changed a lot right around my generation was the mom not staying at home. So, like, my mom worked full time, and my dad worked full time. My mom was a school teacher, and my dad was a college professor.
So do you believe that the 40-hour week is still the standard working practice hours for people in America?
Here in America, it's such a mix. It's hard for me to tell, but I think it's probably pretty common, yeah. But a lot of people in tech
in
work
Australia, we often
hours.
we often blame America for the change up in our work-life balance because it culturally came from trying to keep up and be competitive, blah blah blah. So we used to have that 40-hour week as the standard. That got destroyed 30 years ago. So
yeah, we still have
there is
that.
no 9 to 5. Might be some people who do work 9 to 5, but by and large, if you want to be successful in this country, you work more than 9 to 5. And I
think a lot of people here
for some reason we have it that it's been a Western American corporatist, like the rise of corporatism in societies that led to this encroachment on people's work-life balance.
It's
so
worse
I'm just
in
surprised
Japan, actually. A lot worse in Japan.
Right. Yeah. Yes. Very true. Very true. So, see, to me, I would say one of the things that's impacted a lot of people's work-life balance, which has a detriment effect on social and strains marriages, absolutely, and strains development relationships.
Well, it's not just the work-life balance.
Has been corporatization. I think that we have encroached on the balance of lives. One way you know this is true is because of COVID. What you've seen is because of the impact of COVID, people, either being forced to leave their work because they couldn't. And secondly, you've seen a massive change up in the way people demand where they're going to work and looking for businesses that will accommodate them. People don't want to do that crazy hours anymore. They don't want to be part of that system anymore.
Yeah, what I'm seeing here, though, actually in America is, and I don't know what the stats are. This would be really interesting to know because I don't know. But my guess would be, and it could certainly be wrong, my guess would be that the majority of people in America don't work for a corporation. They work in a small business, and those small businesses need them to be there 40 hours a week. And being someone who's owned small businesses before, we put in more hours because it was our business, but we didn't expect people who, weren't us to put those hours in. And so I don't think that's really an accurate thing. Like you're
yeah, I mean, we have different population sizes and all the rest of it, right? So yeah, I can appreciate that. So small business is still the majority business in India. Yeah. I mean, it is technically here in Australia too, but for whatever reason, even the demands on people's hours there is 9 to 5 is doesn't exist like that anymore. I just don't. I feel like a lot of the problems we've got delve from this work-life balance that people don't have. Like in Australia, we have like some of the most expensive housing in our capital cities.
Our housing's gotten out of control
world.
too. It's crazy.
Like we're one under Hong Kong in terms of expenses and in being able to afford.
Hong Kong is crazy because it's all they don't have any space, so everything's on top of each other.
Yeah, that's right.
And so
I mean, it's by and large, it's just nuts. So
my house is probably worth over $1 million now if I were to sell it, and it would probably sell in a day because the market is so overhyped right now. And I paid $40,000 for it almost 40 years ago, and I put $160,000 worth of materials into it and 12 years of summers, remodeling and adding, making it bigger. So I would think, it might be worth $250,000 or something for it, but it's probably worth over $1 million. I could, I'd never be able to afford a house like that. My income level is just at or below the poverty level for America.
Yep.
But I have this amazing, beautiful house because I built it, over the years. But I just, my mom and dad worked long hours, and all the people that I knew, their parents worked. They weren't long hours. They were 40 or 50 hours a week, typically. Teachers, they work at least 40 hours a week, usually 50 or more. And a lot of their friends were teachers, but they had other friends that weren't. And I had friends who had parents, and they worked a good 40-hour week. Most people that I know still today, unless they're going to college or something where they've got classes they got to do, and some of those work, full-time to pay for college, they work 40-hour jobs. Jessica's working part-time, so she's, half-time. But that's her choice because she wants to do her music, and she wants to go to wherever she's going next month. Not Italy, but Spain. She's going to Spain next month to sing in an 800-year-old cathedral for some national 150-year anniversary of a Spanish migration thing where the Pope might be there and stuff. And it's like, it should be really, really cool. But she's working part-time, and then she's doing her other thing the rest of her time. But I've got, my Jacob is working full-time, teacher's assistant, and everybody I know has jobs, even at my age. Very few of them have retired yet that are 65. They're going to retire when they're 66 or 67 or 68.
Is that because they want to, or
yeah, they
need to be working?
Usually they want to. Like, even if they quit, then they'll go get another job because they want to do something. They want to be busy, and maybe they'll pick a job that they really have always wanted to do or something, right? But it's kind of, and one of them's in the military and he just retired, so he's out early compared to us because he was a colonel in the military, so he has a good pension. But the younger generation does not want to work, and part of me is like, well, how are you going to feed yourself?
That's a pretty savage indictment. I mean,
well, let me finish it though. That they don't want to work. They're not going back to the workforce, and they're not going back to the workforce because they liked being home. I can't blame them for liking being home. And
is that your opinion, or is that something you know because you've asked them?
I'm watching our market. People can't, there's a place that, and I've talked to them. Like, I've talked to one of my kids and said, why don't you just get more hours and you could get a car? Well, I don't really want to work any more than I am. Well, why not? Well, because I want to work on my art. Well, are you working on your art? Well, no, I keep putting it off. Well, do you think that if you worked on your art, and I'd love for them to work on their art, I'm 100% behind them because they could make a living doing it, but they get distracted by gaming, they get distracted by whatever else, and they don't actually work on it very much at all, if at all. Like, a whole week will go by and they won't touch a pencil or a pen or anything, right? And yet that's what they want to do for their life, but they're not working full-time. They're working just under well, maybe they're working 3 days a week, 3 out of 7, so just over half-time. But they won't take more hours. They don't want to do it. And They don't have a great job, so I get that. But they could go get a better job, and they don't want to. They don't want to bother. They could get a job that paid them twice as much. They don't want to bother. I'd have to do an interview and blah, blah, blah. And the field that... Are you asking me the field that they're in? They're in retail.
No, I'm Finny.
Oh.
Hey, Valen, are you coming?
Yeah, go ahead and launch.
I'm loading in right now.
Oh, Valen's coming? Hang on, I'll cancel. And...
We should get Finny Fox in here. Oh, no.
And I've talked to others, and I know some of the kids that were in my youth group, that now are in college or just out of college, and kept tabs on what they're doing. And some of them have done great and launched in and gotten great jobs, and they want to succeed and do things. And others are like, I don't know, I just don't know what I want to do. And so they're not even applying. They're not even applying for a job. And so they're living at home, and they've got no plans.
How old are they?
They're 22, 24, 25, 26. And I get that if the government's going to give them a check, or if they can live at home and not have to work, that's definitely preferable, except that it shoots your own future in the foot. And so in that sense, I'm concerned for them.
Okay.
And across our country, a lot of people are saying, I'm not going back to that job because I didn't like it and it didn't pay me enough. Well, okay, fine. Certainly everybody should have that choice, and I'm all for that choice. But I also know that I don't want to pay higher taxes to pay them to stay home, right? That means I have to work more so they can work less. I don't want to do that. That's not really right. I want them to be able to take care of themselves and do well enough to take care of other people too, like I try to do, like everybody should try to do. And I think they'll feel better about themselves if they're able to take care of themselves and help others. And everybody else will feel better about everybody else when that's the case.
These kind of broad generalities that get applied to all this stuff. Like they just go wall to wall, this is it. And like the statement you just made about, I don't want to pay more taxes to support these kinds of people. And I just find it blankets really what's going on.
Don't misinterpret that. If I have 100 people, and some of them are disabled or can't work, and I pay taxes to help make sure they're okay, absolutely for that. If I have people who just want to stay home and take drugs, and they don't want to work, but they want me to buy them a TV and a car and pay all their rent and stuff like that, and they just don't want to work, they could work, but they don't work, I'm less inclined to really want to support that, and I can't afford at some point to support.
No,
that.
I get the lecture, right? I get the lecture. Yeah. But like, do you think that? Like, do we know why that's the way the 20s have gone now? Like
no, and I'm not trying to paint everybody in their 20s with that brush. I'm just saying that there is a bigger proportion of that than we've ever seen in our country, and it's all for lots of different reasons. And some of those reasons are good reasons, and some of those reasons are pretty flimsy, I think. So it's a mix.
I would never be inspired to work at Amazon, for example. Like the broad brush of opportunities that are out there for the people in their 20s. Doesn't turn me on to work. Like it doesn't. So essentially the only reason that I would have gone out in my 20s and worked was because of necessity, which is what you're saying is that because of social support now, that necessity isn't there. So perhaps what you're I guess what you're implying is that there's these support mechanisms now in say your country and certainly in my country, and it gets often tagged like that, where there's this a support system now where they don't have to because there is some kind of support for them where they don't feel that necessity. But to be large, the work has, I'd say here in Australia, has shifted to, and I can't speak about America.
Say that last part again. The work what? The work has...
Let's just say that the kinds of job opportunities that are out there for people in their 20s doesn't and wouldn't inspire me to go to work.
Well, that's true of every generation, because a lot of jobs that you want, you're going to have to move up to either through experience or training or determination, and you don't always get the $100,000 job coming out of college.
Oh, sorry.
Right?
I'm tuned out.
So you still think that there's mobility within the workplace.
Within that age group, absolutely. I've got a friend who has been working at Microsoft for the last 2 years in a good-paying job, in a job she really enjoyed. She just left Microsoft to work for a startup, found out that it was a dumpster fire of chaos. Not that their idea is bad, not that what they're doing is bad, but the organization of the company is like, she described it as a train on fire. And she said, I can't do this. And so she called up her previous boss that was 2 steps up from where she was at, because that person, when she left, said, keep in touch. Let me know how it goes. And so she called, and the person said, and this person is 27, 26 probably, right? So dead in the middle of that zone. That person said, how are things going? And she didn't answer right away. And she's not well, huh? She said, do you want to come back? And she said, well, maybe. And she said, well, I'll find something for you. And so she's getting her into a job that's higher pay than she got before and more responsibility that she is going to be great at. And this person was glad to have her back, and she's going to make a lot of money and be back in a good environment, and instant upward mobility for her because she's qualified, she's good, and she is recognized for that at a giant corporation like Microsoft. And I've got the friends of one of my other kids just had an interview that he's likely going to get for a job doing online support. And what he does, though, what made them interested in him the most is that he's not just technically able to help people, but he likes people and likes to help people. And they said that's really a hard thing for them to find in one person. And
attitude's one of those markers that doesn't.
Right.
People don't
And so
quite understand
if he
what
gets
it is
that,
and how important it is.
if he gets that job, he'll be making over $100,000 a year. He's 26 and he doesn't even have a college. Oh, maybe he finished his college degree. I think he just finished.
And how many people are competing for that job, Doug?
Hundreds, probably. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Right. Of all different ages, but those aren't. Obviously, there's a lot more jobs at 7-Eleven for basic minimum wage or slightly more than there are of those jobs. But there are a lot of those jobs. But the people who get them are the ones who look for them and the ones who try to improve themselves so they are qualified to get them and do the interviews. And the ones that don't will not get them. That's for sure. I've never.
Well, consider Doc. Consider that there's a hidden statistic there, and that statement is the one that glides over one of the realities, which is sometimes you just don't get them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because the reality is that the higher you go, the less job opportunities there are, and there's still the same amount of people trying to go for them.
Right. So, absolutely. I don't.
At some point, you will be capped out of where you get to be if you try and take a corporate route, or if you try and take the work for others kind of route.
Right.
At some point, you'll cap out.
Right. And working for yourself is hard.
Yeah.
I mean, I've done that most of my life, so I know it's hard. But anybody can do it. So I've got a kid that used to be in my youth group years ago.
Well, that's not really true either. Not anyone can do it.
Why not?
There are some requirements.
Well, generally, like
I've got a nephew who's mentally disabled because of
well, sure, but that's what we have.
Way he was treated.
Yeah, but that's why we have safety nets to help people like that. But any able-bodied, able-minded person,
there's going to be a level at which he cannot work. Like I'm just these broad statements of anyone.
Well,
can
he
do
may
it.
not be able to work at all, but of course, I'm not including someone who's disabled. I'm including an able-bodied,
anyone
person.
can do it. It does include all that. Like anyone can do it is one of those. What I'm saying is there's these broad categories of statements that get used in these conversations.
I'm not using it that way. I'm saying
they're more hopeful than they're more
I'm
about
saying
being
anyone
hopeful,
who is able-bodied and able-minded and can work for themselves. They may not succeed. There's no guarantee of success in anything in life, right? But you're surely not going to succeed just sitting in your parents' basement.
Target spotted. Target spotted.
Although you could succeed there too if you apply yourself.
I don't know. There's a lot of businesses that have come out from
So if you apply yourself and do that, you can. But sitting there playing games all day doesn't usually turn into something.
No, I'm not promoting people do that, Doug. I'm not promoting people do that either. But it seems like it's either comes down to people out of necessity needing to do
I'm dead. I'm dead.
Yeah, I'm just saying that people who are able to, sometimes they don't apply themselves, and that's what they're going to get is nothing.
Target acquired.
And that's not. That's kind of within their free choice. I am all for compassion and helping people, but I'm also.
Doug, there's someone going to come on.
They're going to get killed. Yeah, but I'm also all for.
Start coming down this stair. I'll cover you.
Thank you. I can't move because there's a mech in my way. It's you.
Well, you need to move out of
I'm trying. This doesn't go very fast. I'm having trouble being in cover and firing at anybody, and I'm just getting shot at. So I don't really know that these learn things are really for me.
Guys, to make your conclusion quick and simple.
You can shoot at Bravo if you like.
I'm going to try to shoot it. This is Bravo. If I can get a lock.
Right.
Flex up that.
Today's lifestyle is all changed due to the technology.
Got one up top here.
Is that a light? Oh, I got a light there.
Echo.
2 UAVs up. I'm going to get them.
Alright, you're on your own.
Alright.
You dead. You dead? You dead? You dead?
I'm not dead. I'm about to be. This guy's going to come get me.
Keep on walking back and try and get out of that area.
I shot him. He didn't like it. He's going to shoot me again.
He's coming right to you now.
He's right at me.
Yeah, I know. I'm shooting him.
Ouch. Everybody's shooting me now. I alpha'd him. I shouldn't have done it because of the heat problem that I have.
Okay, got him. Someone got him.
Yeah, they got me. This is just, I don't use lerms ever, so I don't get in good positions. So yeah, all I'm saying is that, yes, things are hard, but I remember working at flipping hamburgers. I remember doing dishwashing. I remember doing hot packing, plaster stuff when I was young. There's a lot of jobs
you understand one thing.
These mechs are all fresh.
Let me make something quick. That's 5 minutes. Technology has changed recently.
I can't. It's hard to hear you, Chris, so hang on till we get out because there's too many explosions.
Balls, you guys.
There's enough reverb in your room for it to cloud everything up, and I can't tell what you're saying sometimes when there's other noise going on.
Okay.
And I want to hear, so.
New target acquired.
We'll be dead soon. You won't have to wait long, looks like. Because here comes the big mechs. They're just waiting to kill the last guy, I think. There we go. I'm going to get into that other mech. Vinny, I'm sorry about your headache, by the way. Yeah, this is going to get me into.
I'm not. I think it's karma for not liking the Halo series.
Wow, could be. Not wanting to
you put out there, you get back. You know, you put out hate, you get back a headache. Is what I'm saying. She's not biting to that. Or she's riding a long time.
She probably fell asleep because I'm just rambling.
Yeah. I want to get into Flea.
Okay, I'm going to get into that other mech. Go ahead, Crimson.
As I was saying, these days now, why the youngsters like that? You have to understand, technology brings us a lot of goodness. It makes our world become small because we can communicate through internet. And you have to understand, now people are always watching YouTube, Shorts or TikTok, and those people out there, sometimes the stuff they show is unrealistic. Now, the impact from there, due to this influencer, making the youngster want to be rich fast and don't want to spend any effort they could find to get a proper job. Because people are showing off they are rich, they have money, they have supercars and all the nonsense, but actually they are poor They just want to attract people to follow them, and then they gain money from there. But a lot of people doesn't accept the fact. So this is what happened nowadays. And to be honest, it is actually quite a huge impact throughout the whole world now.
I think, Crimson, here in America, our younger people have no idea how good they already have it. And I'm not saying that they shouldn't want to have it good, but I don't think they have a good perception of what the rest of the world's like in a lot of ways.
You see, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because they have been affected so heavily by those short videos.
Yeah.
Or some people who pretend they're successful talk all sort of nonsense. They don't know what they have, like you say, because they don't know their advantage. They haven't explored the world. They haven't gone to society to understand what kind of thing they have. You see, it's a problem.
I don't buy that argument, Crimson. I appreciate the influence. I'm not saying it's completely. I think it's there. But Crimson, there've been some structural changes that have happened in industry and work life. So there's always been wealthy people, and they've always marketed those wealthy people to be idolized, right? Because it creates aspirations and inspiration. That's always been the case. We could take you back to the 50s and 40s, and we can talk about the influence of Hollywood stars on American society. And I'm sure in your own country there would have been people that, when there was a king or whatever it is that you had as a social hierarchy over there, people would have aspired potentially to be, unless it was completely you were tiered and you couldn't be, right? But hang on, Crimson. America used to make things. Australia used to make things. That means the opportunities that were there for people in manufacturing, it isn't like it was. It's changed, and I'm not sure the changes have picked up the slack, and I'm not sure that the education system has really provided the pathways that slack has also been created. So there's been wholesale. We used to have essentially two economies when we had the Cold War, which operated for 30 years.
Yeah,
we developed two economic systems on the planet. There was the USSR system and essentially the West American system, and that meant that you didn't make things in China. It didn't happen like that. But the world has basically wholesale said, well, China will be the manufacturer for the planet, and it's not, or Asia will be technically, but at some point it was just going to be China. And that meant that when you got out of high school, in America, you didn't go into
a factory of any kind,
building a car or that kind of stuff, which means you didn't get the satisfaction of building something every day and leaving home and going home and going, wow, I built something today. And then all the supporting industries that needed to exist to support those things that they also got made in America and that kind of stuff. There's been wholesale change in industry, wholesale change in people's work hours, wholesale change. And I think there has been that influence with, well, people have just seen the bling bling and wanted to try to do that kind of stuff. But I don't think that by and large has changed the structural and wholesale changes that have affected. And we've had a proliferation of wars around the planet post World War II. All these things have impacted on, what comes home. Like when a soldier returns home, you saw an increase in violence in the home. That's one of the things that happened. You saw change. You saw more freedoms to women, which means they weren't trapped in marriages, which also saw an increase in women going into the workforce. One, because they had to, because men died in wars. But even when they got kind of 50-50'd out again, you still see, women going into the workforce. None of this, by the way, I'm saying are bad things. I'm just saying they all have an impact on what a 20-year-old, the opportunities that exist for a 20-year-old today, and what they think about and their the gratification they get. And I don't think the gratification is there as much anymore. And I don't think the opportunities are there, and I don't think the social mobility exists as well as it used to. In some things for everyone, for some people, the way you've described Dark, yes, I can see it.
Right, but that's not available to everybody, and I absolutely agree with that. It's not, but it's more likely available to those who try than it is, those who don't. Yeah. And I'm not saying that,
but that try thing is like that. I don't know, like that try thing annoys me a bit, because it's like, well, all you need to do is get out there and try.
Well, of course, that's not a magic bullet either, right? No, I agree.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that that's a perfect thing. I guess what I'm saying is, what I'm seeing is a lot of people are unplugging from the system completely, saying, I'm not going to try.
Yeah,
and I don't think that's...
What's the point?
That's not... How is that tenable, though?
It's not tenable.
Right? So I'm worried about...
It's not tenable.
I'm worried about them.
Yeah, you should be, and so should they, but there hasn't been anything to replace... Like, there was a time where people could retire, have a house, a car, be assured their family would have some success of their own. And what we're seeing more and more is an increase in the difference between the rich and the poor in a lot of Western countries. There has never been more poor people in your country than there is today.
Right.
And people will say, well, that's because they don't go to work. I don't think that's the case. I think they went out to work and they saw their parents not get the retirement dream that apparently you're meant to have by doing it, and it doesn't inspire them to pursue it.
I don't think they're looking at... Most of the younger people aren't looking at that. Like, my kids don't look at that at all. Okay. They haven't even thought about that. And which is a little interesting to me too. And I don't think you have to have everything figured out when you're 25, right?
No,
that's fine. I mean,
you don't even know yourself at 25,
right? So, so that's all fine. I don't expect them to be on this. I mean, a few people are on a path where they're going to, make sure they're okay financially in 20 years. And our kids were given $5,000 by their grandparents when they were younger, and went into an account that they couldn't have access till they were 18, right? And we didn't even tell them about it until they went to college. We said, well, you have money in this account that your grandparents put in there, and now it's worth $22,000 or whatever, right? And I said, but you've got good grades, so if you want, you can get a scholarship. And if you get a scholarship, you don't have to give that money to the University of Oregon. You can keep it, and you can use it for a house down payment when you get out of college, or something like that. And all of them kept it. Now, Jessica has, I think she has the most, because we made some changes to her stock portfolio a few years back, and the other kids were too lazy to go in and talk to their stockbroker. So they didn't make the changes. So she has about $20,000 more than them. They have about 60, and she has about $80,000. Well,
nice.
She works at Starbucks, and she's got $80,000 in the bank in stock.
That's fantastic,
right?
Yeah.
So if she leaves that there while she's young and working for 20 years, it'll be worth $1 million or more, and she'll be able to retire just from that $5,000 gift.
Retire, you think?
Probably, maybe not. By then, $1 billion won't be worth anything, right? So who knows? There's no sure things, right? But if she keeps investing it, keeping it, and maybe adding to it a little bit, and Starbucks does they'll match whatever you invest into a 401k or whatever, up to 10% of your paycheck every month. So if you put $100 in, they'll put $100 in with it. So if she does that and does other things, and saves money and invests it, she'll probably do okay.
Right.
But most kids don't have that opportunity. That was given by generous grandparents. But then they don't have the discipline to let it sit and wait either. And Claire has been out for 8 years, and they haven't touched it, right? So that's great. And that's partly because we raised them to realize that money doesn't make them happy, and they don't have to have everything they want. Right? And it's okay to save money. That's probably more important than buying everything. And so sometimes they'll buy something nice that they like, and that's great. And they don't make very much. So if they made more, that'd be super, but they live within their means and they're happy. So, okay, that's good enough. But they're not complaining about everything. They know they could change things if they wanted to. And they just don't want it. Now, long term, that's not the best way to live. They should think a little further down the road than that. But oh well.
It just sounds like they were given, they capitalized an opportunity to Like, I can see why they're inspired, for example.
Why they're what?
They would be inspired to. Why they'd be inspired to work or encouraged to work, because they actually got very early on an opportunity to get successful, like, you know, financially successful.
Well, but they don't know they're financially successful. Like, they didn't know at first, right? But they have seen the magic of it, right? And I've sat down with them a couple times when they were younger, and I've taught them that if they're creative, they can make money. And I said, it's and this comes from Rich Dad Poor Dad, but we do it in our own life. So I pull out a piece of music and I say, it's illegal to print money, but you can print, like, we wrote this music, and we can print, we sell it for $1.50 a copy, and we can print as many as we want. As long as we can sell them, we can just keep printing them and making money. And you can have as much money as you can imagine if you make something that nobody else has made. And then I will tell them how much we've made from our music. And I said, it's like printing money. So think of things that you can make, that you can sell, and sell them, and redo that, and you'll never want for money. Of course, that's not a perfect promise, but it's very likely the case. So I'll show them our Christmas musical, and I said, look, we made $20,000 off this Christmas musical this year, and I made up the musical, and Jennifer and I made up the music. It's all out of our imaginations. And you can make up something yourself.
There's good role models, isn't there? Like, you've provided great role modelship to people. Again, there's you can do it, and this is how we did it. And blah blah blah. So
not everybody has that, right? So I get that.
No, they don't.
So of course that's a problem. But
some people don't necessarily need it to be successful. In fact, maybe the missing
if you want to be successful, you can go find these things out. They're not secrets.
Yeah, but there's a confidence thing, isn't there? Like, unless you experience it or know someone who can demonstrate it, it doesn't necessitate you joining the dots to be able to do it for yourself.
Yeah, I know.
Always.
But I think helping those people, helping people that want, you can still go somewhere and say, I need help, right? And they can, you can get that. Sure, you can go to business. You can go to a business class or conference thing that's free. You can go.
Self-help counselors.
There's lots of places you could get. Now, a lot of these counselors, they'll just say, well, go get a job. They won't talk about what I just talked about. But you could look around. You could try to improve yourself. You could spend the time. You could read a book. You can get Rich Dad, Poor Dad literally for 95 cents or free, or go to a library, right? And so the information's there. If people really want it, they can go find it. And I know that some people will never think.
Win this. That's awesome.
Never think about doing that, right? So
never think about it.
Yeah, they'll just never think. Oh, I could change my life. They're so wrapped up in their life, they don't know how to get out of it. Just like when you're in a relationship that's falling apart and you can't see the way out, right? So I know there's people that you could talk to, you're blue in the face, and they just won't get it because they're just immersed in it. But by and large, I think a young person. There are many things they could do if they really want to have a future that is financially stable and stuff like that. Okay. I know they won't. I know a lot of them won't, but it's not because it's not available. In our country, it's not because it's not available. In other countries, it may not be available much, very, very easily at all.
So you think America's still the land of opportunity?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. I'm not arguing against it. I'm just saying.
I don't think it's. In some ways, it's easier than it's ever been because you have. I'm the world's smallest.
Yeah, it
publisher.
sounds like all you need to do is apply yourself because there's so many that aren't. That's what it sounds like.
Yes, exactly. I'm the world's smallest publisher, and I sell music all over the world. I made money last year doing nothing from songs I wrote 20 years ago, and in 2020. In 2020, we made $3,500 in royalties from songs that were sung in different countries. $3,500, and I'm
work?
nobody.
Like, do people have to sign up to get your song or something to be able to sing it? Like, how does that even work?
Because
if I sing your song, I have to give you money.
You don't. You don't have to. International copyright law protects composers and artists and authors and things like that, and developers or designers or inventors. And most major countries have signed on to the international copyright laws. China ignores them basically, and steals anything they can. But I mean, it's true. That's what they do, and. Not saying that they're not starting to create their own stuff now, because they're certainly smart and able to invent their own things, but they don't really care about.
I used to love the way what they do. What they do is they sign a contract with a company to produce something here, and then lo and behold, the specs of that thing that they're producing gets shipped over to another company, and they start. Shure was making microphones. Somehow ends up at this whole other company.
Yeah, Shure was making SM57 microphones. It's one of the more popular microphones in the world forever, and they ran a factory that ran 2 shifts per day of making these microphones. But when everybody went home, guess what? Other people came in and made the exact same microphone during the night, and those went somewhere else, not to Shure, right? But
the balls on China, hey, the balls on China. Good on them. That's great.
What was I going to say though? Is something I don't know.
Oh, I was just going to ask, like, because that is something that's fascinated me, the entrepreneurship of people. Certainly someone like in your position. So how is it that someone who, say, is singing your song in France is paying you money for singing that song in France?
So how does anybody make money off radio airplay?
Well, ads, I take it. Isn't it ads?
So what happens is that you get a #1 hit, and the radio station pays some of their ad revenue to Abscam or BMI, which is a national service that tracks all the airplays. And for every airplay you get, let's say, a nickel, or maybe it's a penny, right? And comes out of that money, and it gets divvied up amongst all the people who got their songs played on the radio, and then sent to their publisher. Publisher takes a cut of that, and the publisher gives the rest to the composer, the singer, artist, the producer.
So how does Spotify and iTunes affected all that?
They basically keep all the money from all the revenue and pay thousandths of penny to the actual copyright holders. Literally a thousandth of a penny.
So they've destroyed your industry, is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Or have they proliferated the music so that more people get to hear it, so you end up with a bit more?
No, you end up with far less. Far less. Jennifer's...
They end up with a lot.
Jessica has 20,000 views on YouTube. She's made zero money from YouTube. She's got thousands and thousands of views on Spotify. She's made $12 over 4 years. Tens of thousands of listens. And so YouTube keeps all that ad revenue, and they give you hundreds of, I think.
So how is that fair and acceptable? And people are just okay.
Well, people aren't aware. They aren't aware that musicians are, starving, and that publishing and record labels are gone, and they just don't know. And what are they going to do? Are they going to stop watching YouTube? No. Are they going to stop listening to Spotify that they're paying?
Was CDs, in your opinion,
was
CDs overpriced? In your opinion, was CDs overpriced? Like,
no,
back to like
$17 or $15 for a CD? No, that's not overpriced.
Target Fox 5. Target Fox 5.
Yeah, Fox 5, guys. Fox 5.
I mean, the artist would make $1
2 lights
off of a CD.
There's a lot more here. You need to engage, guys.
The retailer would make
please engage
$4.
I'm trying.
Or $6 off of a CD. The wholesaler would make $2. The publisher would make $4, and maybe some, and then the artist and producer and stuff like that each make $1.
I'm dead.
And so it adds up reasonably fine. It's not that overpriced. I mean, you listen to it. If it's a good CD that you really like, you're going to listen to it for thousands of hours sometimes, right? So is it really?
I don't know, but like I just remember being a kid and thinking that as a because the vast majority of people that I know buy CDs were around my age bracket, like pre-20s, like between that 16 and 22-year-old thing was when, you know, CDs were popular and when you buy CDs. And honestly, for me, because I hadn't worked, I think it was like 17. That's when I first got my first job.
Yeah,
I just found CDs were way overpriced. They were way overpriced. That's that. But not knowing anything about the music industry, there was just this assumption.
But you could always get them on sale for 12 or 15, right? After a little while.
You wanted the latest. You wanted the latest releases.
Well, sure,
right?
but we want the latest Mech pack. But if we wait a few months, we can.
So
get
in
it
Australia,
for
they
cheap.
were $30 to $32 to $60.
Yeah, but $32.
So that's probably.
What's that? Double what we're here.
Yeah, like I don't. So in Australia, if you wanted like, say it was a highly popular artist, it could be as high as $60 to get the latest CD.
Well, that is expensive.
And $30.
That's crazy.
And so,
left torso
so I was fine.
But how much was an
when we could
Australian
torrent
dollar
stuff illegally?
worth at that?
I was right there.
Yeah.
Sorry.
How much was a dollar worth compared to a Aussie dollar?
It's always been around the same. I mean, it fluctuates
Ratio.
between 70 cents to 96 cents. It's
so they're
always
just paying
been
a
kind
lot
of
to
around
bring
that.
it there, and they could produce it there for the same price if they wanted to, probably.
Yeah, it just always felt like in Australia things were way overinflated. So when
But that's not the music
torrents-
industry's fault. That's your government's fault. Or it just really costs a lot to get everything over to an island that nobody knows exists. Generally, it's out in the middle of nowhere.
Well, it
Don't
might
they have
be,
to
it
go
might be to
through-
do with the licensing costs that
Yeah.
for them to do anything that maybe they for Australia they made it high. You know, I don't know.
Yeah, don't they
But
have
it's
to
just
go
interesting
through a
to-
cloud of impenetrable vapor to even find the island?
You have to have a criminal record. So you know, there's
Just to
that.
get there.
Given that criminals are dealing with criminals, they're always going to rip each other off, right? That's generalized.
Wait, I thought we don't associate with criminals on this channel, Dark.
For some reason, I do.
You have been. You have been. Hellbringer's really throwing about his damage tonight, isn't he?
Well, deservedly, 1,200, 1,400 damage. That's ridiculous. I'm not doing well here.
No, I died early. I took on 4 mechs by myself, well, not by myself, but 4 mechs by and large that were just chasing me. And then it became 5 mechs. I just got popped early. I can't stand that argument that lights are easy to kill. They're hard to kill. And like when you've got 5 people on you, they're quite easy to kill.
Yeah, with 5 people, sure. Anyway, the way we make money
with 5
is
people,
there's a
even
company
assaults
called
are easy to kill.
CCLI, Christian Copyright Licensing Inc. That's like BMI or Abscam, and churches pay in if they want to be legal and pay royalties according to international copyright law, they can buy basically based on the size of their church. If it's a small church, it's like $65 or $75 a year. Big churches might pay as much as $500 a year, but that'd be thousands of member churches, so it's really not very much. And then they keep track of all the songs they make overheads for, recordings of, or any kind of duplication. So you can actually sing our songs for free, but if they make a bulletin insert that has the lyrics, or they put an overhead up, any kind of copying of it is under license, under protection. So they don't have to pay anything to sing our song. They have to pay if they're duplicating some part of it. Then we get a little bit of that money. It gets tallied in from, there's 87,000 churches in America of various sizes, and then there's so many thousands in Britain and the UK. There's so many thousands in Australia and Ireland.
I would have thought Africa would have been a big market for you.
We actually are starting to make a little bit in Africa, but they are just starting to find our music. And it's like we've got 500 African, whatever they are, which is worth about $20. So when it gets up to, I think, 25, then they'll bring a check over. So anyway, yeah, you don't have to pay anything to sing our song, but if you make copies of the lyrics or copies of the music or record it, then you pay for that. And it just comes out of that yearly fee you pay, which is not very much. And I don't have to do anything.
So basically, I need to get to writing some Christian songs.
No, I wouldn't recommend that, because that's the lowest. That's a tiny sliver tier of music. You'd be better off writing pop songs that get lots of radio airplay and lots of music arrangements done for choirs and things like that. and getting a #1 hit. Or even in the top 100, you'll still make some money. And Christian music, Christian pop music is only 10% of the 100% market for music. Country Western is 10 or 20% probably. And then,
Is it bad that I would actually kill to hear Drax create a happy, upbeat, and uplifting song?
I mean, you'd be stretched. Like, you'd really be hard stretched. Because the last time, I mean, I used to sing in choirs for sure, but I never learnt musical notes or anything like that because I hated my music teacher back in grade 6.
I think that's really sad. That's really sad.
It is sad because I sang in front of the Prime Minister as a you call it when 3 people sing and then a
trio
and then 4 people. I had a trio,
quartet,
duo, and
duo,
quartet. I was involved in and then the major choir. So back in the day, sure, I was good enough, I suppose, from a school point of view to stick me out front. But in terms of actually learning, no, I think our music teacher was a monster as far as I was
concerned. Well,
really sad.
It's just like a skill, though. If you don't keep developing it, if you don't keep going with it, then it never gets any better.
Well, I never.
And there
learned,
are some people.
I never learned how to read music. Never learned how to read it ever.
Well, okay. Fun fact: I can read music, but I can only read one specific piece of sheet music.
Which one?
I can only read music that is done for alto saxophones. That's it.
Oh, right. But
really?
You
was
because other instruments are done in different keys, and the position of the note is actually a different key that you're using. It's not universal across each instrument.
Yeah, so like if you see,
but you know what that note is, right? Like you know that's
he knows what it is on a saxophone.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
But if I were
the
same,
you mean so like a piano, you wouldn't know what key that represents on the piano.
So okay, no. See, pianos are different. If you learn piano, because everything is based off piano, you can actually figure out how to translate it to the key of the instrument you're in.
Okay.
But if you never learned piano, it makes it very hard to translate it into other things.
You can learn the other way. Like I can take an alto sax part and I can read it as a trombone player, but I have to transpose it as I play.
Yes, but you also know how to play the piano.
No, I don't.
What about vocal notes?
I thought you did.
I can plunk it out, but I'm not a piano player.
Sorry, but what about when it comes to singing? Like, can you because if you played a saxophone, can you work out like a sheet of music based on vocals?
I can.
I could tone out kind of where it would be, but it would sound horrible. Because I'd probably
just
be
because your vocal
4
technique
octaves above
be
what
great.
I can be able to actually sing.
So like Jennifer or Jessica can sight read a piece of music and sing it and get it very accurate all the time. I can sight read because I sang in groups and sight read anything in bass clef, and I'm pretty accurate most of the time. I haven't done it for a long time, so I'm a little sloppy now. But if I have to read treble clef, I never go up there in that clef. And so then it's like, if you get me in the right spot to start, then I can see the intervals and sing it right. But I wouldn't know, necessarily without getting my starting note, where to start with.
Yeah, so I'd be lost full stop. Like I'd just play it by ear, and you know how that would turn out.
Kind of like how I play
So in terms
Mechwarrior.
of me producing an upbeat piece of music, I wouldn't even.
You don't need music to do that. You just need to sing it and record it. Make it up and sing it and to a recorder. And as soon as you've done that, it's copyrighted according to international law. If you record it or write it down, even if you write the lyrics and the chords, if you get somebody to help you figure out what the chords would be or could be for it, then that's copywritten as soon as you write it down according to international copyright law. You don't have to put it in an envelope and send it to the Copyright Office or to the Library of Congress or anything else. If you have a dated original written notation of it.
Well, I just want to clarify with Valen about this upbeat piece of music that potentially I could try and write. If I was writing a song where my girlfriend left me because it was a toxic relationship, would that be upbeat?
No.
If you're happy that she's gone,
if I felt good about it, if I was happy that she was gone. And if my dog died and I was sick of feeding it and spending money on it, would that be Valen?
Drax? Yeah. If the tone of the song is happy and upbeat, and the words of the song are happy and upbeat, then the song is happy and upbeat.
No,
if you are singing about something horrible, it's still not happy and upbeat.
But you're upbeat. But you sing it like an upbeat song. Like,
So that means that it's totally fine for Miss B&R to sing your death tune in like Backstreet style music.
what about that band you recommended the other day? That Cheese, Mr. Cheese,
Richard Cheese.
I mean, he sings some pretty sadistic songs.
And he's a lounge singer.
Yeah, and because he's doing it lounge jazz, it sounds pretty cool. Sounds upbeat.
Yeah. It's not upbeat. Some of the stuff he sings is not upbeat.
But it sounds.
It has a good beat to it, but it's not necessarily upbeat in and of itself.
We tease Jessica all the time because she only does sad, heartbroken types of songs, love songs and broken heart songs and stuff like that. And when we do a live gig, the sheet of paper you put your set list on, we just put a frowny face by every song, and if a song is even medium happy, like not even happy, it's just not sad, then we put a smiley face because that's as happy as it gets.
Okay.
So, but hers aren't the same. Hers aren't quite the same tonality that you might bring to your own composition. So don't be, feeling like you can't bring something unique and special to the world.
This has to be my last one, guys. I've got
Upper City. That'll toss up a city.
Contact Alpha.
Target acquired.
There's a dire whale on the right side.
I can't hit anything from here. This is silly. I need to get in close. I need to go somewhere.
You got a lock on it?
Say hello to the enemy in person.
No, it's hiding behind a building. I just managed to poke it a bit.
Okay.
Oh, there's another guy here.
Yeah, you don't want to be there by yourself.
Target spotted.
This thing is so slow.
Gamma's open.
Go.
Gamma, da, da, da. I was thinking I'd play a song I wrote years ago. I have a recording of.
Not happy about it.
Gamma's
I don't know if I can find it.
Yeah.
My last posse is good.
Oh, he's orange. Yes, Phelan.
Nice.
Yes, make him suffer.
Make him burn. I'll be sorry.
Make him burn.
Make him burn like hygiene.
Just be careful. We're gonna attract lights at some point up here.
Target spotted.
Warning, incoming.
That's what we have you for, right?
Well, I have a trap missile already.
I'm not gonna be good at games.
Missile.
Ouch. I'm not playing
Well,
this
they're
mech
shooting
well.
missile more than lights.
Bottom ground, Delta. Phelan, Delta Bushwhacker.
I see him.
Target spotted.
Delta. Sorry, Juliet.
No, we're going on Delta. He's out in the open for Phelan.
I got the kill.
Damn it. Too hot. Got a cool.
Delta's dead.
Cool.
UAV above. We gotta get some of those UAVs down. Hang on.
Target spotted. Target spotted.
Charlie.
New
See him.
target acquired.
He's almost.
Where's Charlie?
Incoming.
Hey,
Nice.
dead man. Echo.
Warning, incoming.
Need good tone though.
I'm
Where's
just
Echo?
getting chewed
In the
up.
water.
I can't see him. I got a clear shot.
Felix out in the buildings. I don't know if you want to
Target spotted.
play that one, but anyway.
Oh,
Felix.
Nope, because I got somebody closer.
Okay.
He just popped me in the windscreen.
Darn it.
You dead?
I'm doing poorly.
No, I'm okay.
No, he's right next to me. He's still alive. Where's Echo? I cannot get him.
This thing is just so slow.
Spotted.
Really? He just came in behind me? Seriously?
Spotted.
Yeah, I said that was going to happen.
Oh, I didn't hear what you meant, I guess.
Actually, you're not here with us, so I don't know.
I'm gonna change angle.
Target acquired.
Target spotted.
Can you get a hotel? Direwolf?
Hotel.
GA, come on, push up.
I'm
I
going
don't
to
see
get away.
hotel. I see Alpha.
G6,
Alpha.
G7.
Critical damage.
Yeah, I know. Shush.
Incoming missile.
What's he saying?
He's trying to give me target information, and I'm already engaged.
Well, I did 150 damage in that baby. Not very
Oh,
impressive.
Oh my god, he's CT red.
I got him.
Cover me on theatre. I'm gonna grab it.
Nothing in E7. Come
Roger
on,
that.
guys. They're in G7, G6.
Finny Fox, haha, my ex will have to delete all the music he has ever made. All the songs are inspired by me. So why does he have to delete them?
It's
They're like his
alive.
songs.
Guys, there's a direwolf still around. I'm gonna
Apparently
go
they're
find him.
G7. That's what they're saying.
I know, but there's a
People
direwolf.
like sad
if I'm not
songs. Some
mistaken.
do.
Center torso, critical damage.
Wait, hi.
Valen, you're by yourself up there, I think.
Yeah, I
Like
know.
expenses of how am I going to spoil myself for my birthday? Happy birthday almost then, Finny.
Her birthday's in October.
Happy almost not birthday. Do you start planning your birthday that far in
Hostile,
advance?
hostile.
I'm on him. I lost him.
I should be in a mech. I'm not
No,
so bad.
he's almost like him.
Lima?
Trying.
G7.
Oh, I gotta go to bed.
I like him.
Damage.
Jessica's doing a celebration
good.
of 500 followers on
Bushwhacker!
Twitch
Hotel, bravo, bravo, bravo.
tomorrow. Finny, you might like
I'm on
this.
him, I'm on him.
She's gonna bake a
He's on
cake.
theatre?
It's I think it's gonna start.
Echo,
At,
echo.
No, bravo, please.
Online.
I think it's gonna start at 3:30, maybe 2:30
Willing, there's
Pacific
a
time.
echo next to you on the left.
And she's
I'm
gonna
trying,
bake a
Bravo's
cake.
dead, Bravo's dead.
I know.
She's gonna bake a
I'm
cake
dry.
on stream,
Target
and then while the cake's baking,
Oh, well,
she's gonna do a concert
armor then.
and sing songs, and then she's gonna eat cake. I think.
Sharing the
So
armor.
if you want to check that out,
Pushing
it's
up.
Frog in a Pickle.
I'm on Epsy.
Target destroyed.
He's dead.
Nice.
Going to Lima. I'm covering for
Lima.
you.
New target acquired.
I'm trying to go for Lima. What is the UAV above us? Who cares?
Well, we're gonna win on
those
caps if
songs,
we don't
Finny
all
Fox,
die.
those songs could be
No,
like
we
they could make
already
him
got capped
rich.
already.
Look at all the songs Taylor Swift wrote about all of her
Lima,
friends
Lima.
that were bad
You
to
go
her.
and cap
He's going up the ramp. He's going up the ramp.
Something
I'm
behind
Or
you.
loves that
Something behind you.
no.
dumped her.
He died.
Kilo,
So you could have made him rich, maybe. That's stuff worth singing about. Laments and sorrows and regrets and pain. Oh,
We're
yeah.
on Kilo.
He could be if
I know,
he's
I
a
know,
good
I know.
songwriter. That could be a major win for him. You might have done him a great favor.
I go for his torso, man.
Kilo?
Oops, you kind of missed
Wow.
Behind you, behind you, behind you.
I know.
No, behind you.
New
Directly
Turn
target
around.
acquired.
Lima's right behind you.
Target destroyed.
Ooh,
Nice.
nice.
So it's just a Thani.
Yeah, we need to cap. We need to cap.
No, we
You
don't.
don't. You're winning.
We're winning.
Go get him. He's a theta.
He's in
He's a
theater.
theater. He's a
Him at
theater.
theta.
He's a
Kill
theater.
his ass.
Keep on going through the corridor, dude. I'm going on the other side.
Do do do.
Target.
There we go.
acquired.
His days are numbered. I don't see how green helps you see him.
Target.
Nice.
destroyed.
There you go.
Good work, guys. Thanks to
Oh,
that.
Lance won that. Well done, guys.
I certainly didn't help.
Wait, I got 6 kills?
I think you did at the beginning.
6 kills, Crimson? No, I did not. I did 150 damage. I didn't do much of anything. I distracted them maybe because I was
Oh, what
so
did I do?
shiny.
I
Holy.
did 500 with 2 ERs.
1,100 damage.
Crimson and Valen.
Wow.
Carried.
Wow, 9 kills
Carried,
between 10
dudes.
kills between the 3 of you and 9 between the 2 of you.
Link that to bloody Hellbringer,
Yeah.
eh?
Wow.
Link that one to Hellbringer.
Wow.
Well, Mr. Hellbringer.
See that Hellbringer? That's how good team works together. Come on.
There you go.
And that was all while I was talking
What a
too.
proper team does. He doesn't rely on one person carrying it, relies on 2 people carrying.
Yeah, and that was all while I was talking the whole time. So that, obviously that's not a problem. Of course, you were ignoring me. better.
9, 10. We did 10 of the kills, boys.
Isn't that amazing?
But honestly, you guys did 9, so well done.
Very well done.
Yeah. We got 4, 9, 10. Yeah, 10 of the kills, and like, I have 7 assists. Drax has 8 assists.
I got nearly 600 CBU in that game. 573 CBU. Crazy.
I didn't even know what the person in game was calling out. I couldn't hear him.
He was trying to get all of us to rotate to the other side, What I was doing is staying on the side we were, because they're going to have to trickle over there anyways. There's more cap points on that side that we hold, so they'll have to come over. And as soon as they do, rain. Treating them like the Spartans.
The Spartans.
Yep.
That's a great match. Hey, I'm going to have to end the stream. I did want to say, Finny Fox, I don't know if you heard me or not, but if you're interested, Frog and a Pickle's doing her stream tomorrow. It's a cake baking stream. She's going to make a frog cake, and then she's going to sing while it's in the oven, she's going to sing songs. And then she's going to eat the cake. So it'll be a fun stream. I think it's 3:30, might be 2:30. Frog and a Pickle. If you want to see her make a cake that she doesn't know how to make, it'll be perfect.
So, Dark, what you're telling me is it's going to be a riveting good time?
It's going to be a riveting good time. You hopped all over that one, didn't you? I feel like you're padding your humor just to make it fit in.
Well, you gotta kind of get in there and just kind of hop in.
You know what the frog says, don't you?
Can't delay.
You know what the frog says?
Huh?
Time's fun when you're having flies.
Oh no! I think I need to go find an investigator now.
All right, everybody. Thanks so much for the drops and the conversation. Yep. And we'll see y'all next time. This has been Ghostlands, your favorite place to waste the most important moments of your life. I make it sound kind of romantic that way, don't I?
Sure.
We'll go with that. All
right. Yeah.
Good night, guys.
Sound like my pickup line.
Yeah.
Night.
Punching out.
Thanks much.
Good night.
Bye, guys. I need some dinner. You guys later.
I'm gonna bring my cat to the vet.
All right.
Maybe.
I think I might switch over to Sarcasmo's channel.
Oh, cool. He's on stream?
I don't know. Yeah, yes, he's on stream. Okay.
Alright, let's go down there.
Let's go bug the shit out of him.
Yep. Good night, Dark.
Good night.
Later.